And we are back. I want to welcome everyone back to the final part of our live stream where we've been building the Lion Knights Castle, the 90th anniversary Lego set. This is a build that I've been looking forward to for so long and definitely something I've been excited about. So I'm really glad I could share this with us. I decided to kind of hold off on these final bags. Instead of trying to cram them into the last live stream, I felt like it was a bad way to do it and definitely give the set a little more justice by taking our time with it. And here we are at the final 3 bags. And the last stream, we got to bag number 24. And I went ahead and emptied it out and during that stream. And I got the minifigs kind of put together, but that was it. So now it's time to assemble the rest of bag 24. And we're gonna move on all the way to the end. There's only 26, so. Hey, how you doing there, Adam? All right, let's get down to business. So, here we go. All right. Looks like we're gonna be doing some stuff, kind of like add-on stuff when it comes to the drawbridge mechanism. So I think that's where we're starting at in terms of build. I didn't get to talk about them too much, but the last time we were here, we were putting together these minifigs, and I was impressed with them, especially the queen of the castle, which I actually thought they would save until the very end. But yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. This is definitely a set to look forward to right here because it's one of those things, and I know that anybody who does Lego like I do, I know that you know what I'm talking about when I say that it's like an event when you put it together. It's pretty much like all hype completely. So that's definitely been my experience with it. It's some people, they go to like a football game and get that kind of high. For me, I'm putting together a really expensive Lego set. I think that's where I get that. That's where that adrenaline rush comes from for me. Oh, it's the simple things, but not the cheap. Definitely not the cheap. All right. That's an interesting piece to use here in the castle. Didn't think we'd be seeing that one. That's the one thing about these Lego experiences is they are prohibitively expensive for a lot of folks. But of course, these aren't really aimed at kids. These are definitely aimed at adult fans. So it's definitely an AFOL kind of set. It's not the kind of thing where they're thinking that somebody's going to rush out and get this very set for their kids. It's definitely meant to be a nostalgia kind of set, but that does not diminish the quality whatsoever because it is mighty impressive. All right. Here we go. Oop, knock it over my minifigures. Get them off to the side. I don't need them right away. And a lot of this last part of the build is pretty high up, so I'm trying to find that kind of happy, yeah, I got a little too high up there. There we go. I think that that's pretty decent. I really love this little armory area that we put together, especially the shields. It's just kind of a presentation of arms and helmets and spears and things. It has just a great look to it. I was really pleased with that. That was fantastic. All right, so this just clips on to this Technic pin right here. There we go. I believe that's just gonna go down, yep, and attach. Oh, great. That kind of shores up the mechanism a little bit, I think. So that kind of gives that a little bit more support. And then it looks like we are building kind of a platform over it. So let's get to it. It was such a rush getting this set on VIP release day because you don't realize it until you go to like one of the major metropolitan kind of Lego stores. Exactly. I know that AFOL community is kind of like a small community when you really think about it, but then to see so many people like that are the exact same demographic as you, just all lined up around this building trying to get the same thing, it kind of hits it home just how much of a cultural kind of phenomenon it is. That's right. you can always count on Lego being a pretty decent investment, because Lego is committed to their retirements. Very few times do they bring something out of retirement or go back on something like that. So I think that's the secret for them just retaining so much value, is when they say something's retired, they mean it. 9 out of 10 times, they really do mean it. So I think that causes enough of like a FOMO market to cause people just to go crazy when they can't get a set, and it will yield a return a lot of the time. So if you really just decide you don't like a set or it just wasn't for you, you can just about always get your money back out of it. Of course, for me, I always need to listen to my initial instinct on a set. What I've learned over the years is every time I've tried to force myself to get a set just for like completion of a theme, or just because, like, oh, maybe if I get it in hand, I'll like it more, that almost never ever works out for me. It always has to kind of just be something I'm initially. Yeah, FOMO is a real phenomenon and has caused me to buy sets that I probably wouldn't have, just because of the fear of missing out. Like, that's really it. I probably, like, sometimes there have been sets that probably weren't up to my standard, like, of what I even wanted. Oh, yeah, me too. Me too. I missed out on that. And it's funny. It was one of those things, and I almost feel like there's a little bit of dark magic going on with Lego sets. And this is how it works. When a set is plentiful and it's out there and it's all over the place, I can't tell you how many times this happens. I, I don't even hardly. It's like some sets are invisible, and as soon as they're gone, you kind of have this moment of clarity where you're like, "Oh Lord, did I miss out on that?" Like the Apocalypseburg set, like you mentioned. I never really even considered it. I just kind of thought, "Oh yeah, okay, that's neat." Like I really didn't give it a second thought. As soon as it was gone, it was like, "What have I done?" you know, this was the neatest idea for a set, and it didn't even click at all what I was missing out on during that. And it's the weirdest thing. I don't know. It's like it awakens you to sets when you realize you missed out on them. Kind of like some of the Ninjago City sets that they did. Like, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, I made good on that haunted house because I was a big Monster Fighters fan, but I come in on the tail end of the theme, and I wasn't like super into Lego just yet. Like, I was into it, but I wasn't, to the level I am now. And I made the painful at the time decision to just go ahead and bite the bullet and get a set, and get one that was pretty okay in terms of price. And the prices now are so crazy that I'm really glad that I just went ahead and did that, because every now and then you have to have that acknowledgement moment that, okay, this is just going to get worse. I might as well just go ahead now while I can. And I think I ended up paying 300 and something for it, or $350 or something. And now that would be really good compared to what what's out there right now. And so I just went ahead and did it. And sure enough, it's one of my benchmark kind of sets. It's one of my favorites. So I'm glad I did that. And every now and then I know that a set is incredible, but I don't have the um I don't know, I just don't have the finances for it, or it didn't work out. And every now and then it works out beautifully, like with the old fishing store. It just so happened I waited till the very last moment when Lego put those things up at massive clearance for their Black Friday sale that year. And I was able to grab it on like a really good sale right when it was being retired out completely. I sure do wish I had done the same when it came to Voltron. Unfortunately, Voltron was one of those sets that I really didn't think about how much that set was aimed at me until that set was unavailable. I don't know why I would take. Oh yeah, yeah, it's a fantastic build. Absolutely. Yeah. See, that's me too. I've got so many of these super expensive hobbies, and it's crazy. Between GI Joe, Masters of the Universe, and Lego, those are the ones that are just always. I mean, they cripple me when it comes to this hobby. And it's crazy because it's funny you would list those because that's my same intersection of stuff. Like that's the same things that I'm way into. And so sometimes I wonder with adult hobbyists, is it a lot of the times are we pretty well going after the same stuff? Are there the same a lot of the same cross sections for things? And there very well could be, I think, is the answer. I think a lot of the times the people who are into one of those things are into the others. Yep, and GI Joe. God bless it, GI Joe. It's rough. It's rough. And I mean, I love all of those things, but whew, just trying to get to a level of completion with those things, and that's difficult. And now companies have figured out the crowdfunding angle, which is both great and awful because I don't think there's ever been more FOMO at work in terms of a marketing strategy than crowdfunded items. That is a whole new level. That's a whole new ball game when it comes to, oh, you better get this or it's going to be gone. And I mean, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. That's that next level. And it it I think that the rule is the same for the crowdfunded items for me as it is for Lego sets, which is even if I think that I'm going to miss out on it, I need to balance that out with if it's something I'm truly into. If it's something I'm truly into, then I won't regret the purchase. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that those HasLabs are dangerous. I wonder, like in a few years, are we going to look at statistics and it's going to be talking about how many marriages ended because of like HasLabs? We're going to get on there and it's going to be like, between the years 2018 and 2025, 80% of geek divorces happened because of HasLab. But honey, it was the USS Flag. That's the one. I think that's the one that's going to be like the ultimate divorce package for fanboys. That's going to be the one where it's like the marriage ender of all HasLabs. If there's ever a way for them to somehow do a USS Flag, and I'm not sure if there ever will be, but if there is, it's going to be a lot of lonely fanboys out there, very lonely as they watch their wives drive away with the kids and the house. That's a good strategy. I commend you. That is wonderful. I remember I was in a comic book store one time, and they had just gotten in the I guess it was the animated series Batmobile from the DC Direct stuff, DC Collectibles, whatever you want to call it. They went back and forth on their name so many times. Anyway, and they were like, they were trying to sell me on it. I knew there was no way I could afford it or anything at the time, so I was just kind of laughing with them about it. I made the comment, I was just joking. I said, yeah, I said, I love my wife and I don't want to end my marriage by buying this Batmobile. and they seriously, they had this moment where they were like, well we can like bag it up to where, it'll be impossible to tell what it is. Like we can do something different with the receipt. And I just started laughing because I was like, man, I don't know. Those guys were looking to make the sale any way they could. Look at how cool this is. Is this not great? This is awesome. It's like, the gate. It's fantastic. But yeah, I was so cracked up by their offer of help there, trying to help a man out, trying to secure his Batman the Animated Series Batmobile, which I'm sure whatever they wanted for it would probably seem like a bargain now compared to what you would pay for something like that these days. That's inflation for you, I guess. And I think inflation is one thing that's absolutely killing us right now in this hobby because, wow, prices are going up and going up fast. And it's caused me to, I think there was a lot of things where I had it on pre-order, and just kind of going back and reevaluating what I had on pre-order and canceling some things out and all of that. And it was just it's a horrible thing to see the prices go up. It really does cause you to get a little pickier about what's out there. And it should, I guess, because you can't get it all, no matter how hard you try. You can't get it all. Even though you'd love to. You'd love to. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Completely out of control. Yeah, the Galaxy Explorer. That's something that I'm really looking forward to getting when I can. This set crushed my Lego budget for a good while. I'm not sure if I'll be able to buy another yeah, it's gonna get worse. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to buy another large size Lego set until maybe possibly when the Office set comes out, and that's just gonna be a maybe. I'm not even sure that's gonna happen for me now. But I'm really looking forward to the Office set. It's a big deal to me, but at the same time, the castle was the biggest deal for me. So it was kind of like me prioritizing it above pretty much everything. That was always going to be the big set for me, like always. And so far, it definitely lives up to it. Lives up to my expectations. Wow, this is so elaborate. Okay, so it's hard for you guys to see because let me get this. That's right. Yeah, the whole completionist aspect of Lego. I'm still trying to do that with Harry Potter and having mixed results with really being able to do that because I'm getting myself in trouble with that. It's getting to the point where it's a little too out there for me to continue trying to be completist and now just trying to figure out what the best way to move forward with those collections are. I think Lego Monkey Kid was one of the first times I've ever learned to be more okay with something not being complete or learning more to just be a little pickier about what I get. And that served me well with that theme. And it was one of the first times I've been able to defeat a whole lot of FOMO kind of stuff to where it's okay, get what you want. And for me, I would much rather get the big sets that I really like than a bunch of the little sets. Yeah, every 3 years or so. And when you think about it, it's actually brilliant in terms of what they're really doing here. Rebooting Harry Potter every 3 or 4 years while keeping some kind of disconnected sets on the market, like the big sets, is absolutely brilliant. They must have, I think they probably did some kind of market research that's shown that there's this pattern with these buyers for Lego Harry Potter where they're all trying to do the same thing. If you really think about it, most of the buyers for the Harry Potter theme are trying to complete a pretty good facsimile of Hogwarts Castle, and they're needing a Hogwarts Express, and there's a checklist of things that they want or things that they feel like are important to building this Harry Potter display. And if you kind of reset that every 3 or 4 years, you'll almost guarantee that you never really alienate out people completely. And you'll continue with the people who are diehards who feel like that they have to have the reset. Then you'll have 2 different groups each time, and then you just keep multiplying it by resetting it. So I actually think that that's probably the smartest thing they could do with Harry Potter, because that was my reservation on even getting into it in the first place, Back in the day, it was like, oh, well, I've missed X, Y, and Z. And because there's no hope of me getting that, there's no use in me getting into this theme. And then they started, you know, it was kind of reboot after reboot. And now that they're a couple of reboots in, I ended up, it was kind of like having a wealth of opportunities that you just realize that, oh, well, I can jump in here, here, and here, or I could do it this way. And because of that, that's actually pretty empowering for the consumer. Capitalism, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I think you get what I'm saying. That is when you give somebody the ability to kind of to do it their way, then that's, yep, reboot, reboot, reboot. And like you said about the Millennium Falcon, that's going to be key right there. There's certain things they have to keep offering, because if they don't, you will alienate a whole new consumer base. Every few years, you get a new alienated group that feels like they can't start, and what they need are entry points. Used to, I remembered thinking, how are they going to manage that with Lego Batman? And I thought, and this is when Lego was really at their most creative with Lego Batman, when they were constantly doing, their own ideas for things and their own interpretations of things. And they started some of that. And of course, that was integrated with like the Lego movie and Lego Batman movie and things. And then Lego Batman has, except for movie tie-in sets, has disappeared. It's gone. I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, DC, just in general, is out. There you go. And now where it used to, there was a pretty, yeah, exactly. That version of Lego Batman is what I miss as well. When they were at their most creative, and it was at its most, like, it had its own identity, those sets do. And they feel like their own thing. But now, it's all gone. I don't know, things perhaps soured with their relationship with Warner Brothers, because let's face it, Warner Brothers can't even keep their own filmmakers happy nowadays. And scandal after scandal. At first I thought that it was fine that they canceled Batgirl or whatever. I didn't think it was too big of a deal, because I sort of bought in to this idea that, okay, maybe it was horrible. Oh, absolutely. Lego Marvel is staring it up. But the more I looked into the whole Batgirl cancellation and the more I heard about it, the more frustrated I became. And then I realized that it was just driven by greed. Yeah, it was all just greed. And that's not to say that Marvel's decisions aren't driven by greed. Of course they are. They're business. But they are in the business of not being contrarians to their own fans. And instead of trying to confound their own fans, I think they're always trying to find ways to give them what they want. Yep, Ezra needs to go. Ezra needs to go so bad. I don't know what they're thinking. They should have. He should have been fired. They should have been fired. I don't know, like months ago. They could have already had it. They could have already had it in the bag about how they were retooling the movie and all that. But instead, they made the just absolutely stupid decision to keep him around, and that is stupid, and that's going to bite them hard. And I know that there's an apology out right now from Ezra Miller. That apology is not going to be worth crap when there's more allegations that come out about what he has been up to. Because when they find out what they've been up to, yeah, I'd say there's more. Yep. Mm-hmm. I'd say there's more that we don't know yet. There's more. That's going to be the trouble. You can manage, you can at least sort of manage one kind of crisis, or two crises, whatever you want to say. That's manageable. But it's going to take on, it's going to take on a life of its own. And that apology tour won't be able to keep pace with it. Because if you really look at what they're saying, if you really look at the accusations, it's becoming more and more and more obvious that Ezra is a cult guy, cult person. Sorry, I really don't mean to, get pronouns all mixed. It's not like an intentional thing. I just can't, live streaming. I can't keep it in mind. But seriously, cult person. And you can tell just from the interviews with people and their interactions with Ezra, you start to figure out that that's what they're into, and it's about indoctrination and influencing young people, and none of those things are a good combination when it comes to the idea that maybe, just maybe, there's more allegations setting out there, just waiting. So I'd say buckle up, Warner Brothers, because you're probably betting on the wrong guy. Buckle up. And that apology was the most hollow, vapid thing you can imagine. Oh, it's kind of the thing that cracks me up. Well, it doesn't crack me up, it disgusts me. Is one part of the apology was like, I now realize that I've been suffering from complex mental health issues. Which, yeah, exactly. More of them keep coming. They're going to keep coming out of the woodworks. And that apology really was just a way to dodge responsibility, really, because everybody wants to hide behind some kind of mental health thing. And what's bad is that there's people who legitimately should be able to talk about that, but then that bad behavior being disguised and masked as mental health crisis. I guess that's in the 80s, that's what DC really should have published, was Mental Health Crisis on Infinite Earths. Flash runs so hard, and he punches so many Hawaiians that he just disappears. He vanishes in a crisis. Well, if nothing else, the memes have been worth at least some of the turbulence. But it's a lot easier for me to say that, and not so easy for the people that they terrorized. So, not acceptable. Not acceptable. It's a mental health crisis. I really wish that Ezra had taken the opportunity to dig the hole a little deeper, and in the apology would have been like, I now realize that I've been suffering from a crisis on a mental health crisis on infinite Earths. And then if he just would have typed LOL in the apology, I think it would have been, I might have accepted it. Like, oh man, I got nothing but respect for this guy. Oh boy. Look at that. Got some tubes here. Those are the famous castle tubes that everybody hears so much about. That's right. It's a whole multiverse, a range of mental health crises, the likes of which we've never seen before. Ezra seems like a villain in the Netflix. Of course, it's based on Neil Gaiman's classic comic book, but Ezra seems more and more like a villain from The Sandman, like somebody that the Sandman would hunt down and like chase them down in their dreams and like and punish them for all of their evil. Maybe if things go really poorly for Ezra, that's what he should do. Is he should try out to be a villain on Sandman, and then go from there. They need to do Unsolved Mysteries about Ezra Miller. Robert Stack comes back from the dead to host it because he's like, I can't miss this. That would be a great Halloween costume. Is like undead Robert Stack, God rest his soul. And you're like in the trench coat and stuff. I can't say it would be in good taste, but or if you didn't want to go so lowbrow, you could do Ultra Magnus from Transformers, because he's played by Robert Stack in the Transformers movie. You could be Robert Stack, like Ultra Magnus in a trench coat, wearing like a wig. I wonder if anybody's ever cosplayed that at like a convention or something, because now I want to. Just to be 100% honest, I'm ready. Put me in the Ultra Magnus. Get up. Oh. I can hear the music starting up now, and all the horrible reenactments where you have somebody playing Ezra, and they're having a normal conversation with Ezra at the bar in Norway or something, wherever he was at, and just all of a sudden he just starts screaming and starts fighting every person around. It's like I imagine Ezra walking into a bar, just like I do with the movie Black Dynamite, where Black Dynamite walks into that bar, or I guess it was a pool hall, and everybody's laughing, and they think they're gonna they're about to scare him off and beat him to death with the pool sticks. And he walks to the door, and they think he's about to leave, and he locks the door from the inside, and everybody is like, "Oh crap!" That's what Ezra was doing every single time he's shown up to a bar. He would show up, and instantly the first thing he does is he locks every patron inside, and they know they've had it. They've absolutely had it. Ezra is about to deliver the beating of their lives. And they don't even know him. He just shows up. I still say they're missing an incredible opportunity to have Ezra play Reverse Flash. Yep, lock them doors and them windows tight. If they get Ezra in that Reverse Flash costume, you talk about everything being okay. Yep, the beatdown is coming. Ezra is there to do two things. He's there to beat people up, and he's all out of people to beat up. All right. Got these finished off. Okay, and I think the rest of this bag, yep, Bard Thawne. Ezra Bard Miller Thawne. I think the rest of this bag is dedicated to building up the tree, I think. But I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. So I guess this is showing you how, okay, I see. It is actually a two-part gimmick with the gate. So by cranking this part up here, you can see, oh, and it actually maintains, it holds it. Oh yeah, thank you. And now the other part is ready to come down. So that is so cool, because then, let me see if I can get this right. I think I'm pulling on the wrong thing. Here it is. I was pulling on the wrong mechanism. Look at that. Tardar. Oh, that's so cool. I think my one issue is, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's good. Oh, how cool is that? Oh, yeah. Great. Man, I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay. Man, that's awesome. Okay, let's continue with that tree right here. We got a lot of foliage pieces. As you can see, we have two different shades of green, and it's really hard to tell on camera, the lighter green and the darker green. And one thing I'm going to have to be really cognizant of is which one is which. But the thing is, they may not have cast the same. No. Okay, I see now. Yeah, they didn't cast the same parts. Yeah, that drawbridge is some of the most impressive, and just from an engineering perspective, some of the coolest stuff I've ever seen them do. Like, I thought that maybe, you know, the drawbridge would come down and that was it, you know, and you roll it back up. I didn't think that there would also be a combination gate with the drawbridge. I'm honestly a little shocked. I knew it would be a neat mechanism. Did not know that they were gonna go for the gold over here, but they went for the gold. They decided that not only would it be a great Lego set, it would be like monumental. So. I wonder if we'll ever really hear the true results or see numbers from that final round of 90th anniversary Lego voting from a year ago when they were trying to decide on what they were going to do. I wonder if that's the kind of thing that it's just always going to be kept internal. We'll just never know it. And we'll just have to trust that they went with the winner, or we'll ever know how much it was by or something. I wonder what some of those final numbers look like. The internal workings of these trees are hilarious. You start having like red and yellow and all this craziness. Oh, me too, absolutely. I personally think that they ought to test the limits of this. Like, if they could test the limits of what you could really do in terms of a castle, you know, a series of castle builds that were high end. They don't have to be as big as this. They certainly don't have to be as expensive as this. It's just, I think, worth them looking into. Look at this. It looks like a Dr. Octopus, like tentacle. It's exactly what it looks like. But yeah, I think it's worth testing the waters on that. Just see, you know, measure it. See if there's a demand. Because I think you could redo a bunch of castles from those time periods, and I think there's a market for a lot of them. I really do. So I can be wrong, but think about it. Lego releases plenty of modular buildings. Like, it's just what they do. Well, that's great, but Lego could easily, when you think about it, if they're doing so many regular modular buildings, couldn't they just as easily do a series of modular castles? Like, I don't know if the market's there. I think it's there. I could be definitely wrong on that, but I do. I think there's a big market of castle enthusiasts. And if the results are as skewed as they appeared to be in that original poll that they did, then there should be an abundant number of people who that's their main thing. Yeah, just the medieval theming in general. I think Lego is only just starting to understand what kind of market there is for that medieval theming. I bet that blacksmith's workshop, I bet it did well to start with, but I'm gonna guess that there are going to be plenty of folks that go ahead and buy it for the first time because this set has increased interest in that medieval theming and that expansion. Because when you think about it, that's really where this lineage of kind of castle sets starts for this updated kind of Lego Icons aesthetic and this kind of level of quality and this level of design work. That blacksmith's workshop is really, I think, might be a little overlooked in that regard. But I think that's where you can You can see a lot of this start. And honestly, I am ignorant when it comes to some of the Lego designers and who all they are. I keep up with one of the Monkey Kid designers on Twitter, and that's about the extent of it. But I just feel that some of this feels similar to the design for the Blacksmith's Workshop, and I know that was a Lego. I guess that was a Lego Ideas thing, but what I mean is the people who've translated that user idea into an actual set. Ooh, yeah, I can see that because it's a little more gritty than this set in a funny way. I think like it's a little more. It's got a little bit more of that kind of real world, like grounded nature to it. Like this feels a little more fantastical, maybe. I guess is how I put it. The Blacksmith's Workshop feels like something that is a little more historically accurate, even though they're definitely meant to share in that Lego medieval theming. With all the different references to the factions and the different knights and things, and it's definitely in the same world, the same universe, I guess. Every single set, and I've said this once, I've said it a million times, every single Lego set that has trees in it, hardly ever will you see the same build philosophy for trees, even just foliage. And I like that. I like that there's constantly this kind of like reinvention of how you're going to do it, like every time. I do think it's kind of funny that this is just a black tree, that it's not brown. But I think that really might be more of a case of them trying to be a little more classical in the way it is, a little more old school with the way the design is. But it is funny to see them lean so hard on that color choice. So what we're doing here is 3 of the exact same style of like treetops, and then you just plug in the treetops along the model. So I'm making 3 identical bushels of tree branches. I think you all know what I'm talking about, is that like mentally doing a section of repetition like that can sometimes be a little bit of a break after a long stretch of trying to wrap your head around different things they're asking you to do in more advanced sets. It just gives you a little bit of a reprieve from what you had been doing. Okay, and here's where our different colors of foliage pieces kind of come into play, because what you're doing is you're pretty much just wrapping these branches around as you go. And then over top of it, to finish it, you're then adding this lighter color over top. And honestly, even though it shows like an exact way to do this, I think this is where you can kind of more freestyle the branches to be what you want it to be, and to kind of fill it out and vary it a little bit. Yeah, they have big problems conveying that with a few different models. I know that, to me, yep, the gray is really hard. For me, probably one of the biggest challenges of all was trying to understand exactly which green was which in the Blacksmith's Workshop set. Because if I remember right, I think there might have been 3 shades of green on the foliage pieces. And it eventually, what seemed simple at first became sort of nightmarish, because I was having to disassemble things on the foliage because I was using parts accidentally when I wasn't supposed to and things because they were reproducing a lot of the same foliage parts and leaves and things in different greens, and it was almost impossible for the instruction manual to kind of convey that. It was kind of a mess. So that was actually one thing I didn't enjoy when it came to assembling that blacksmith's workshop. Everything else was great. I had no issue. But that, not so fun. It's funny, you can look back at different parts of builds, and it'll surprise you what you end up really remembering or really like about a certain build that you keep coming back to. And for me, with the blacksmith's workshop, it has to be the funny brick built bearskin rug that's like on the second, or no, it's at the top. Yeah, it's at the top story of the building. And it's I guess it's like in the bedroom of the thing. And it's so wild. And if you guys, if there's some of y'all that don't know what I'm talking about, you've absolutely got to look up this brick built bearskin rug. You wouldn't think that there was a real effective way to brick build a bearskin rug onto the floor of a room, but you would be wrong because it's this perfect kind of faux 3D kind of thing. I was just surprised by the ingenuity of the bearskin rug. That's for a set with all kinds of beautiful complexities and wonderful things about it. It's hilarious that's what I kind of come back to. This funny bearskin rug. Here's pieces that I feel like I saw a million times in the Lego Hobbit movies. I don't know what it was, but every time there was anything to do with the orcs or whatever, or the villains, I just felt like there was always these pieces. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but after a while, it felt like it was like a reoccurring thing. All right, mixing up some shades of green again. So far, so good on the instruction manual, making it at least fairly clear or more clear than usual about which one is which, because that can become, like you said, that can become a real pain sometimes. And these, it looks like we're just reproducing branches a couple of times. So we are just trying to get the couple of like duplicate branches here. And then we're just going to hook those in. Okay. All right. Another one of those funny elephant tusk kind of pieces. At least that's what it reminds me of. Okay. And so I was wondering when I first built this, what on earth the little gray things were, but it turned out those were just little spots to put branches. Funny idea that they should do it in gray like that, a gray stud, but I guess they wanted it to be a little more obvious where these would go. I don't know. If it bothers you, you could always sub it out. That's one thing that I think all of us have plenty of lying around, are those little stud pieces in a variety of colors. Oh yeah, well, that ends up looking really nice. Look at that. I wasn't really sure about it at first, but then the more that I kind of got it on there, I think they successfully kind of conquered Lego tree syndrome, where it can be either too straight and it looks like a pop-up in a video game, or then there's the other way where it looks too messy and too crazy and it's kind of uncontrolled, which was, they sort of got into some of that territory with the blacksmith's workshop a little bit. I don't mean to be critical because that's beautiful, but that tree was a little out of sorts. It was like this really naturalistic tree, and then all of a sudden it kind of become unruly after a while. Okay, now we have this beehive, honeycomb, whatever, and let's see how they want us to attach this, because this is kind of weird. I'm trying to make sure that I have this right. Okay, yeah, I think I see what they want me to do. So what you got to do is take this part, the sprout piece, and then kind of, there we go. Put that through and then connect it at the bottom. And there we go. It almost sort of looks like a pineapple from a distance. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay. Now, maybe I missed a couple of little spots of these because I have a few left, so I'm guessing that I probably missed a couple of spots because Lego definitely would not give you extra. I wouldn't think they're going to give you any kind of extra limbs or branches or whatever. Don't think that's a thing at Lego. They are most definitely too stingy for that, I'm afraid. Let's see. Well, yeah. I'll look one more time, make sure I've not missed anything. Maybe there are a couple of extras here, 3 of these. Either way, it's fine. It's fine. All right, we are just about to bag number 25, which is going to be fantastic to finally. That's the second to last bag, so we are just about to wrap things up here, I believe. Okay, so that goes on those 2. And then that one, yep. Okay. Ah, I see now. So the deal was, and this will make this look a lot better, is that really there was one step that I didn't do on each one of these. I knew there was no way they would give us an extra. So on each one of these little bundles that I talked about doing, what I was really supposed to do was I was supposed to cap them off with one of these, and it kind of diminishes the look of that black piece right there in the middle. You see, now it's a whole lot more natural actually. So just put that one right there, and then okay, and then one more, I think. Oh yeah, that's even better actually. Now the tree is even more filled out and looking very natural, which I think is always the challenge when it comes to brick-built foliage, brick-built trees. All right, bag number 25. Funny random selection of extra pieces. Try not to deafen everybody with the sound of bags being emptied here. There we go. Oops. Heads are rolling. Okay. Oh my gosh. There's only about 1 million little pieces in this. Let me show you what I'm talking about. It's these little things. Drive me crazy. All right. Looks like we have a minifig here that we're going to put together. Looks like a couple actually, and they're just guards. I think they're almost exactly the same. Kind of just an army builder. Lion Knights here. We'll give one of them bow and arrow sling here, or a quiver, I guess. That's the correct term. They look awful happy to be on guard duty. Look at this. What's this even mean? This, to me, this says constipated or maybe some gas, perhaps. Let's see. I think it wanted the other head on this one. Yeah, I think this is the female archer here. And she has a helmet in here somewhere or t'other. There it is. Okay, and she's ready to roll. She does get an actual bow and arrow. Okay. And she's ready for adventure. Put her over to the side with my village of minifigures from just this single set. And this one is the dude. Oh yeah, not much. I'm finishing up the big 90th anniversary castle. So we are on the second to last bag. This is bag number 25 out of 26. And what's funny is just this in the background is only half of the castle because I didn't have enough room to set the other half up here on the table, but we're going to be connecting them all together here in just a minute. So I'm awfully excited. Look at this. This guy, he looks, I don't know. That's his alternate expression. So I don't know. Perhaps his stomach is, he's got some stomach pains going maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say. I'm not sure what he's got here. If this is some kind of ceremonial something or another, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Yeah, I've really enjoyed putting it together so far. So far, so good. Hopefully I can get it done right here on the stream, and there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to, because this is the second to last bag, so I think we pretty well got it from here. I think we've got it, and we'll have it done. All right. Okay, I have to show you all this so you'll believe it. I've never seen a page. I'm glad you actually got to see it this time. Yeah, it worked out well. This is the One Direction on the page. 22 of these. No wonder there were so many. Look at this. That's the whole direction. Do this 22 times. All right. Well, that will pretty much eat up a lot of those pieces that I was concerned about becoming monotonous. So I guess this bag won't be as challenging as I thought. It's just this one page where there's about 22 of those that you've got to place in all different spots. So yeah, I can handle that. All right. Time to stop moseying around. Let me get to it here. Okay. 1, 2. All right. 3. And we've got 4, 5. Surely this is kind of getting to the top because I don't think this can go too much higher. It's amazing just how much Lego is crammed into this thing. So I don't think there's much higher you can go because this thing is getting way up there now. Okay, so that little piece is done. Now I need to go over here and fill in the rest. Okay, so that one goes right there. Well, I wanted to transition to doing that, and I did a couple of times on Twitch. That's what I was doing. But then I hated to leave my YouTube audience, who I knew enjoyed some of those streams. So for now, until I can start streaming on multiple platforms at once, which I think would be good. But you never know. This may be the last one that I do on here. I may start just doing Twitch only, because it's a horrible thing when you think about it, because the YouTube algorithm, believe it or not, punishes my channel every time that I stream. And I've heard, it's not just me, I've heard other YouTubers talk about this. If your channel isn't, that's right. If your channel isn't mostly a streaming channel, then the algorithm punishes your channel. I can see it. It all kind of, it decreases. I can see it happen. It's already started to happen as a result of these streams lately. The algorithm much prefers that I stick to the videos it wants me to make. And this is not what it wants me to do. So yeah, it makes it an unhealthy experience to, yeah, it messes it all up, makes it a bad experience to try to do like varied content on your channel. The algorithm does not want you to do varied content. Oh yeah, having a great time, How about you? Class is going well? Okay. All right, and then we have a bunch of those same pieces to put right here. Those on. Okay. It's amazing how much just this, well, that's a shame. It's amazing how much just this one page of these 22 different pieces has thinned out the piece assortment down here. Like this pretty well puts a huge dent in the amount of pieces that I have left just in this bag. I mean, there's really not a tremendous amount after you use all these things. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Usually they pace it out a little bit more than this, so it's kind of strange for them to just do one massive kind of glut of these pieces, like nonstop. It's just kind of like a marathon. Okay. And the next page is similar, and then we're going to put 12 of these up there. So it's not quite as crazy, but it is funny that it's almost like the designers got to this part and they were like, okay, do this about 1 million times. Of course, I guess that's not as wild as some of this, to where, you know, it's like in those sets where you put the little studs, like fill like areas with studs to look like water or something. International Space Station. Well, that sounds like that's going to be a terrific build. I think my nephew put that together, and I think he really loved it. And it looked like an awesome set. Yeah, say that they just got to a certain point and they were like, all right, this thing is just taking forever. Just do this. I'm not sure if there was any other way for them to explain it, but hey, I'm glad I'm not the guy who's writing the directions or the manuals. I don't know. Somebody asked them a little while back, and I thought this was a really good question because yeah, this was a really good question. They said, why is it that the stickers aren't numbered like in the correct order that like goes with the other steps? And that's actually a good question because of course there's no stickers in this set, which is fantastic. I'm really happy about that. But in the sets that do, the stickers are kind of in a weird order compared to the building order of the set. And I think what I understood from it was that there was a little bit of a disconnect between one department to the next about them communicating about which one is like, what order they're going to do the actual build in versus the order of the stickers. I would say it's probably one of those things that there's not enough time, because I have a feeling that's the main thing, is they're trying to get this stuff done as quick as they can, and there's probably not enough time to coordinate about that. But it is a funny little thing that they don't quite have that lined out. You can tell the sticker department, the decal department, is a little different than the others. They're kind of doing their own thing. They're on a little bit of an island, if you will. A little bit of an island. Yeah, I think they're always moving on to the next thing. And I mean, I understand that. I think you would kind of have to always be in prep mode, that there is no downtime with Lego, because for as many sets as you think there is now, research and development is probably working on, Lord knows how many other sets at the same time. So it is weird when I think back to all the sets I put together and thinking, wow, I can't believe that they've done, insert set name here, only to realize later that while I was saying that about that set, that they literally had to be in the midst of working on some other set that I couldn't believe got made. So it's funny. I think that's it would be a remarkable place to work. I'm sure. I'm sure it would have its challenges too, though. Maybe you would be completely burnt out on it if you worked for them. Maybe it wouldn't be fun anymore. Maybe all you could see when you see one of these sets is all the problems and all the disappointments you had while you were trying to help design it or get it assembled. I don't know. I'm curious, though, what it would be like. If I ever had the opportunity, I would love to interview uh, some of the folks that make these sets on the channel. That would be so great, because I do have a lot of questions for them about what that's really like. What would your work be like? I'm sure it's a unique work experience in some ways, and maybe in some ways it's more mundane than we would think it is. I don't know. I don't know. Something to ponder about, something to think about. Yeah, that would be so much fun. What I found with Twitter and other social media platforms now is that a lot of those guys are way more reachable than I thought they were. Because a lot of the times they're just normal people who are just on there, just getting people's opinions about the sets and things and just talking to them and answering questions. I think the problem comes when you've got some of the people who maybe English isn't their first language, because of course we know there's a lot of foreign, to us anyway, there's a lot of foreign designers who work at Lego, and then there's some English as their primary language designers at Lego. So that would make it interesting, I think. I think that it might be a language barrier thing for some of them. I've seen interviews with some designers that just seem like you would never know. And then there's some that you would be able to pick them out right away. Like, oh yeah, that guy definitely has some kind of eccentric job. So I don't think there is one type who works there. I think there's all sorts of different types of people. It's definitely not an exclusive club. There's all walks of life and different kinds of folks. This is great. We're getting to the tops of the towers there, where you're kind of just like you'd see in any fantasy castle image, where it kind of has those I don't know what you'd call them, almost like little barriers at the top, little castle walls. Go. There's hardly any better type of Lego building than just that good old kind of block building. And there's just something great about it. Those big chunky pieces. So much more fun to do than more of that detail building, which is what some of that will drive you crazy where you're trying to do the little things. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think that is where the archers sit. And what's great is that in this bag we built a couple, or at least one archer, and there's been a couple of archers so far. So they're definitely there. And what's great is that you also have like townspeople, that you build into this thing too. So how great is that? You get a whole cross section of people. Whole cross section. All different types. Okay. All right. Oh, yep, I don't go there. There's nothing better that you can do with a Monday night than to build some Lego. Yeah, what's great is that this kind of has some features of a village in it. Almost like in the castle walls, there's a little, which that part is setting like over to the side. So when it finishes and I get to connect it all, then everybody will be able to see exactly what that is. It's got like a food stand where there's like different people running little businesses and things and selling stuff. So there's almost like a merchant's area, which is fantastic. That one. A couple more of the brick pieces. Oh yeah. Well, that's always something that I like, is to see Lego dragons. There's so many different ways to make a Lego dragon. brick pieces. Okay. Yeah, gargoyles. I would love to get a set just based on the Disney Gargoyles series. That would be a beautiful set, especially with the kind of architecture you could do there, like have an old cathedral, have all that Gothic architecture. I think that would be a really beautiful set. It'd be awesome looking. I'm definitely ready for a set like that. And with their relationship that they have with Disney, I don't think that would be a problem to get something like that going, because they work on so many other things together. When I was at Disney Springs, that was something that I realized was what a strong relationship that they had built with Lego, because it was so prominent in the park. And it's funny to think that there was that kind of relationship there when you had Legoland just a little while away from that. So I guess that was a moneymaker for both of them. I love these rounded off pieces that kind of finish off areas of the castle, like some of the little gates and things. And it really gives it a more complete look. Then, of course, let's see. Oh yeah. And there's definitely, they have to have representation for Lego all over. So can't just keep it in one place. You gotta have the little Lego stores all over the place, or huge Lego stores, as is the case with the Disney Springs one. I'm dropping pieces. I'm getting too excited. Yeah, I love that it has a texture to it. And if you look at the castle, there's all those great uses throughout of the brick texture. And that makes a world of difference in terms of just the detail and bringing it to life. It's the difference in making it look like just a bunch of building blocks and giving it its own unique identity. What's funny now is we get to go through and put those little curved bricks in all those little spaces. And and it's hard to get them in there like this because my fingers are kind of too big. But it's the only way for me to know like where they go. I had to build around it and leave the gaps, or else I'm not sure I would have known where to put them. I think I would have gotten too confused and I would have messed it up. So I would rather struggle to put them in and know that I'm putting them in the correct spots. Just to me, it makes it a little less nerve-wracking, a little less confusing. I keep thinking each one that I try to put in will be the first one that I don't drop, and it's not working out. I need some kind of like device that like edges them in for me. There we go. That's better. That's better. Looks like we're gonna put something in one of these little grabber hands here. These little, not sure what it'll be, but something's gonna go there. Okay, got that plugged in. Now time to do the other side. Here we go. To me, it's such a high quality castle that I could almost just put this with my Lord of the Rings Helm's Deep, and it would feel like just a natural extension of that it would feel like it would belong in Lord of the Rings. You could almost take Gandalf and put him on, what's Gandalf's horse's name? Shadowfax? And have him ride up this castle, just like Minas, I think it was called Minas Tirith. Yep, it would go right with it. Wouldn't be any trouble. And it would feel like the same kind of aesthetic. It definitely would. So I think that would be awesome. That would be terrific. I hope the new Lord of the Rings series is good, but I'm reserving all judgment until I actually see it. I hope it's fun to watch and hope it's interesting. But at the end of the day, it's just a show. If it's not any good, yeah, sure. If it's not any good, then I can just forget about it, and I'll always have the Lord of the Rings movies. So I'm not stressing about it. Not something I'm worried about in the least too much, really. Like I said, it's just you can totally ignore it. It's not any good. It does not have to ruin Lord of the Rings for you if it's horrible. I don't think it's horrible. I mean, I've heard that it's at least really interesting or really fun, but I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it's awful. Maybe it's the worst thing ever. I just don't care. It'll be fine. So, again, I have to commend them on these beautiful cap off pieces at the tops of these towers. They've made all the difference in giving this such a finished look. It causes it to transcend just looking like a Lego castle. And really, it just looks like a beautiful model of a castle because you have these cap offs at the top. Just takes care of everything aesthetically, keeps it looking, it gives it a clean look. It's like I said, it kind of does a lot to where it doesn't betray that it's just a bunch of Lego bricks put together. Not that that's a bad thing. That's a great thing that it's being so sneaky. I love it. All right. And 14 of these. Again, it's funny just how much of this is like, just keep adding this one piece till it's done. They know you're kind of in it to win it at this point, though. It's like, yep, they'll do anything we tell them to finish this up. Just keep going. That's what it should say. Just keep it up. Keep it up. Okay. And over here, we have another one of these long pieces. Yeah, lovely. Lovely. Beautiful. Okay. I'm very purposely trying to keep, because on those little pieces, there's some Lego pieces have sprue marks on them, where they've been in the factory and they were taken off or disconnected from a mold, and it may be the geekiest thing ever, but I try to make sure those sprue marks, like maybe you guys can see what I'm seeing here. If I can get it to focus. There is a little white mark right there where they've had to get it out of the mold at the factory. And what I try to do is make sure the piece is turned to where the smooth part is facing towards the outside of the castle. So that's something I always do. It just gives it a more finished look. And I have those little sprue marks turned inwards. And that may be kind of crazy, but it's just one little thing you could do. It's an OCD thing, clearly, but it is one little tiny thing you can do to give it just a little bit of a more tidy look and make sure that your set is looking its best. It's definitely not the kind of thing that should keep you up at night or whatever, or that you should disassemble a set over. But it is the kind of thing that once you notice it, you almost feel cursed with the knowledge that it's there. Because once you see that one side has that mark and one side doesn't, you, to me, I kind of want to make sure that everything has that clean look facing towards the outside, and the inside is the part that has that sprue mark. And as weird as it is, it gives me a little bit more enjoyment from the final product if I know that I kind of turn the pieces to alleviate that a little bit. So that is a finished top right there. That is a finished top, I think. Maybe it isn't. Maybe there's more. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we are absolutely getting there, and faster and faster all the time. It's difficult now that school has started back for me to have the time to do more and more, because it could go a lot faster if I had more time to do a lot more content. But editing videos is something I really enjoy. It's something I love. At the same time, it wears me out. So your eyes get wore out. I have a little bug. Oh no. Yeah, I know, right? It's crazy to think that it's went up that fast. But you've got, it's the kind of thing, video production wears your eyes out. And sometimes I feel like it's causing me to go blind by editing on a little phone. I believe it or not, I just crushed, there was a tiny little fly that got on the side of this, and I was kind of trying to shoo it away and splattered it a little bit on the side here. So I'm having to take a little bit of a rag and make sure that that's okay. Good as new. Okay, I didn't expect that. All right. Yeah, anything can happen, right? Anything can happen. Oh boy. Yeah. Should have happened when I was putting together the Daily Bugle. But this just because this was the 90th anniversary castle, I definitely wanted to put this together on the actual channel, on the YouTube channel. Because to me, that's such a big deal that they've done this beautiful castle. It's the kind of thing that I definitely want to share and enjoy. And what's great is that at this point, I think me and a lot of other people who live stream Lego builds almost do it out of a funny little bit of posterity, to where it's like you almost want to preserve your build experience. And you kind of just, you want to have it like saved. It's kind of like people who obsessively take, well, I'm glad they take, like, pictures and videos or whatever of vacations. It's like, that's kind of what this is. It's like you're preserving the memory of putting this together. Okay. More of those funny little curved pieces. Woo. Okay. I gotta say, I've seen so many of those pieces in this build that that's something I'm probably going to be okay with not seeing again for a little while. It's kind of wore me out. Just every time I see a bunch of these, I'm just thinking, oh no. We have another little grabber. We're going to put that right there. Yep, just keeps coming back. Just keeps repeating. Let's see. And this bag is almost done. There is just a few little pieces left. And then it'll be time for the final bag. I mean, the last one. So then we'll connect it and we'll have this thing together, which I'm excited about. Can't wait to see what the final product looks like. Well, I know what the final product looks like because at the Lego store they had a big display of it. But I was taking selfies with it and stuff. I'm also the weirdo who I found the new, and you know what I'm talking about there, Tyler Rhodes. when I found the new for this year cereal, Monster cereal, they brought back Fruit Brute. I found it at Walmart. They had a huge display of it yesterday, and after church when I found it, I was taking selfies with the Fruit Brute cereal display. So, oh, the life of a fanboy. Okay. Yes. That Monster cereal, man. That is a big part of the fall season for me. Oh, yes. That's what I'm waiting for. Where is my Count Chocula Lego sets? Come on, Lego. Don't sleep on Count Chocula. Give us our Count Chocula and Frankenberry, Fruit Brute, Yummy Mummy Lego sets. That's right. Yeah, that Count Chocula. I gorge myself on Count Chocula every year. Which it's funny, I still, my mom ended up getting some extra of, I think it was Frankenberry. And I still have some of it from last year. Ooh, I'm happy that these are the last ones of these curved pieces, at least in this bag, because there may be more elsewhere. But these might be the last ones for the whole set on these curved pieces. And I think I know what I'm gonna have to do here in a minute, and it's gonna be funny. I'm getting ready for another one of those. Do this. Oh my goodness. Okay. I don't think you guys will even believe what it's just asked me to do. I knew it was going to be bad, but I didn't know it would be this crazy. Okay. Let me attach this real quick, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. I'll show you what I'm about to have to endure. It's a good thing, though. It's a good thing. Whoop. I'm breaking pieces off. Okay. Give me a break. Okay. Got that on there. Got that tower connected. Now, here it is. Attach this 42 times. The gray pieces all the way around. 42. No problem. 42? What? Easy. All right, here we go. And the fun part is that you can count at home. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I need the count from Sesame Street, which, you know, now there's the Lego Sesame Street set, so. Yeah, that's not so bad. This will toughen me up. I'll be a real man after I attach 42. Oh! I'm getting ahead of myself here. Okay. All right. This is, I have to say, I really do like what that looks like. It's like, I don't know what you'd call that, like a lattice kind of pattern on it. Like it does do a lot to finish it out and make it look nice, I have to say. that's a lovely little aesthetic touch that they give to this set. And it certainly looks better than having just gray. Yeah, well, these are a little easier to pop on there because if you notice, it's butting up against the bottom of this and it straightens it out for me so that I don't have to, like, I can just take my thumb and you see what I'm doing, just press. And just a little bit of straightening is all they're requiring so far. And so it's not, I'm just kind of popping them on. So it's not as bad as you would almost think it would be. Because now see if I can do it with one hand, because I did a second, yeah. You can kind of do it one-handedly or whatever until I mess up. But it's, yeah, it's definitely doable. Definitely doable. There we go. Okay. I'll get these while I'm back here because there's only like 4 of these spots back here to put this on. It amazes me just how much room there is, like in this little courtyard here. And this is just 1/2 of the castle, because I have the other set over here to the side. Okay, got those off to this side. There we go. Moving on. Yeah, it's amazing how intricate it is when you look at all the little areas. Because I don't think my mind would work like that. If I was designing a castle, I could probably only think of it being like this really basic shape, and it would just open up and there would be the inside. But there's a lot more than that going on here. It's actually multi-leveled and multi-layered, and there's more thought put into it than just open it up and it's like a dollhouse. I don't know if their inspiration for the design comes from more of a place of actual castles, or if this is just purely a fantastical kind of design. Yeah, lots of detail. Like, I don't know if there's supposed to be a hint of realism, or it's just them taking all the different ideas, which I suspect is what it is. Yeah, if they're just taking all the different ideas from all the years of Lego castles and just kind of saying, well, here's a kind of a fresh take on it. And if you notice, we have a little area back there of studs that we need to layer with these. So I'm just gonna put that in. Okay. It's amazing you've got a shadowy area of the castle because there's just this little kind of nook back here. And I'm gonna have to go to the other side to get that. Okay. Got that there. I can barely see it. Okay, all 42. Wonderful. Now, the last parts of this bag are flagpoles and some little trees. So you got your flagpole here. Looks like the yellow and the yellow and the red. Okay. And this will actually clamp into that one little grabber arm that we had over here. And that works out really well. So you got your little medieval flags. Now, one thing you've got is a flagpole that you're pretty well going to put in more of an upside down fashion. And if you open up this, I think it's the last, yep, it's the last cloth element that came in this, and it is the big Main Lion Knight flag, their sigil, I guess. So that's really cool. Okay. All that yellow just makes it feel so old school to me. And look at this, a black lightsaber hilt we're going to use. As funny as that sounds, that's really what they used here, because Lego always uses the lightsabers in funny ways. So that's going to go up here. Oh, I was wondering what they were going to do with this. There's a black arrow. That's going to go through the top part of the flag and connect into this. Huh. Look at that. How cool is this? And it has such a neat look to it, just combining those pieces together. That is lovely. That is lovely. Okay. So this is going to go on the other grabber arm that I was wondering what on earth it was even for. It's going to go right up here. There we go. And voila. And then the last two pieces for this bag are these little trees. Yeah. And that's going to go, let's see. It's going to go in front of the flower. Right there. Kind of reminds me of some of the trees in Mario 64. I just get that vibe. I don't know if it's the colors or what. Okay, tree down there. All right, and last bags. Oh, hard to believe that here we are on bag number 26. Unbelievable, unbelievable. So, the minifigs for this bag, it's going to be focusing on the Knights of the Black Falcon, the House of the Black Falcon from the classic Lego sets. So it's great to have another faction represented. Some of the littler pieces right back there. Trying to manage some of my bags because now it's all just trash. Here's another little bag. Has some small parts. And I'm not 100% sure what all this bag will have us building in it, because this castle seems completely complete now, and the other half is complete, so I'm not 100% with what we're going to do with this, but I'm curious. I'm very curious to find out. All right, we have a couple of different minifig heads here. We have one feller over here with giant sideburns. I'm going to put him to the side because I don't think it's time to build him just yet. We have a guy with a mustache. Not time to build him just yet either. We do have a lady Black Falcon right here. And she has a black helmet, but not this black helmet. So we're getting lots of different helmet sculpts in this final bag. Yeah, I think this is going to be a whole lot of minifig related stuff for this bag. So we're going to take her, pop her head right into the helmet. We have lots of Black Falcon torsos. It looks like that they all use these knights, these Black Falcon knights. Oh yeah, I love Lego horses. The Black Falcon knights, I think, use the same chests. Yeah, there's no difference in those. So we pop that on. There we go. And the legs are the same. She's got a sword. It's funny, that sword looks a little dull, so she might want to go and get that sharpened at the blacksmith's workshop. You know, it's funny, if I remember right, in the blacksmith's workshop, I think the knights that are coming there to get their stuff worked on and that are the Black Falcon knights. But I don't remember. Maybe one of you guys can tell me in the comments if it's the Black Falcon knights, because I don't keep up. I don't keep up with all the different factions. I don't have an encyclopedic knowledge of all of that. I'm woefully ignorant, I'm afraid. And it has to do with not growing up with a whole lot of that stuff, because that was kind of classic Castle was a little before me. So I think that had a lot to do with that. Okay, there she is. And we'll get some of these bigger pieces out of the way. Some of these pieces remind me of the Lego Mario stuff, because it's like those bright primary colors attached to like it's like little plates. All right, and now we're going to be building kind of like her little flag that she's bringing in, I guess, to represent the House of the Black, House of the Black Falcon. All right, so we got that, and she is going to be carrying that, carrying her colors right there as she comes in. So I'll keep her off to the side for now, so I got room to work. And now we're going to take another piece and we're going to build kind of like a big backpack where they're bringing in supplies, I guess, for their visit. You know, Lego, with their big sets, this has kind of become a maxim. It's kind of become a rule for them, is that they always start out with a mini build. And in this case, I think it was it was kind of the little wagon and stuff. And then they end with little mini builds. So you do the meat of your big build right in the middle. And you kind of have a little cap off project at the end and a little introductory project at the beginning. I think that's really good for pacing, because you don't want to throw somebody in like right away and have them doing the most complicated parts of the build. Because if you do that, it kind of, you're burning someone out just a little too quick. You need to not only ease them into it, but then ease them back out of it. And that's kind of what this part is this is like simple building after they asked you to do something, 42 times. And it's kind of like a little cool off, sort of. You're sort of just coming back down from it, getting ready to experience the build all together and all the features that it has to offer. Budgeting for Lego sets can be a nightmare. If you buy a super expensive set like this one, you can expect not to buy Lego for a little while. You can kind of take a little bit of a month break as you recuperate your finances to perhaps get another set. I think for me, the next set will be the Office set, maybe, or the Monkey Kid Heavenly Realm set, which is pretty much Lego Heaven. That's kind of like the Lego set version of Heaven. Yeah, very pricey. You kind of have to, like I said, you take a little break for a little while. And what's good though is that I built this over the course of several weekends. So it wasn't just like a flash in the pan and then it's done and, you know, that's it. No, this got to be a lengthy experience. Oh, yeah. Yeah, one of my favorite shows of all time. I'm still so happy that they were able to finally get the license to do that Lego Ideas set because it's something they struggled with to get for a long time. At least I think that was the holdup, is that there was another company that had done like a little, I don't mean to be mean, but it's like a rip-off Lego set. Very low quality, very, very dubiously designed. It's not the kind of thing that I ever wanted to buy. I would see it at Target every now and then and just be like, ugh, you know, no thanks. So I'm glad I waited on that. Did not go ahead and buy the kind of Lego rip-off set. Not saying that all building sets that aren't Lego are bad or anything. I actually like some of those Mega Bloks sets. Some of those Mega Bloks sets are cool, especially the He-Man sets, because they do a good job with those. But I'll be shocked if Mattel ever lets them do like a Lego He-Man set, because Mattel owns Mega Bloks. So I think Mega Bloks would literally have to end before they could do a He-Man Masters of the Universe Lego set. I think Mattel would have to give up on the Mega Bloks brand, which I don't necessarily see happening anytime soon, because Mega Bloks have been around for so many years. This guy, he's feeling it. I don't know what he's feeling, but he's feeling it. Yeah, it would be awesome. Look at that. He's carrying the buckets. He's carrying everything. They put this guy to work. And for his trouble, he has a walking stick. That's right. He can help him balance as he attempts to get all of this to the castle. They're going to have quite a visit, but he's struggling. He is struggling. Okay, I'll put him off to the side so we've got room. And I'm going to call this guy 80s Knight, because he has a fantastic mustache. And yeah, I'm going to put on his alternate like expression face, because this is like what, Tom Selleck right here. Yeah. Oh, that's a shame. You put the helmet. Oh, wait. No. Yeah, you can still see the mustache. Just barely. You can still see it through the little window there. I like that. Okay. I was about to say what a shame it was that the stash was getting covered by this helmet, but nope. They made sure that everything was hunky-dory. Oh, he gets a black sword. I actually like this. It's great to have so many different styles of weapons in the same set. And a really cool Black Falcon shield. I think I like the aesthetic of the Black Falcons the best. They have that cool kind of look to them. And of course, as is tradition with Lego horses, yeah, you can use this to fill in the hole there in the Lego horse. Or what I prefer is the cool coverings. So this horse is clearly part of the Black Falcon military regiment. You can see it's got the coverings and everything. Kind of put that on there. And yeah, it looks fantastic. Of course, it has a little bit of articulation. You can kind of get the feet doing what you want it to do. Get this guy all plugged in. And it's funny to see Lego people stand inside of their horse. That's what he's doing. And he is ready to come and visit. Here we go. Fantastic. I'll get him off to the side. Okay, so yeah, I totally forgot about this. What we're building here, and this is the final build, is the ramp. There is like a little ramp that leads up beside of the moat that's around the castle. That's kind of like the entrance, almost like the driveway that leads to the castle. So it's great that they've kind of sectioned this off as its own little thing at the end. You're just going to put on there. So I really like that, actually. That's a fun way to kind of get that in there. Gives you a few little finishing pieces. And it's good to take a break from having to go up so high on this thing and see every little detail. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See, what you want to do is you got to be careful because this is 6 studs long. If I'd started trying to build with this, it would have been incorrect. It always helps me to count the studs. This is the one I need, the 8 stud long piece. That's what we'll start with. Whenever you have pieces that look similar like that, always a good idea. Just go ahead and save yourself the heartache. And, whoops, punched my own camera. Save yourself the heartache and go ahead and count them early so that you don't have some kind of big disaster later where you're having to disassemble stuff and redo it. It never works out. It never works out when you try that. Oh, the final steps of the build. Getting closer. Just got that. Okay. Next there. And we have some of those little angular rock pieces. Good. Oops. Put it on down a little. And these are the textured rock pieces. Well, not rock pieces, but you know, it's what they're gonna end up being, I guess. Then we have some little flourishes of green. Kind of, I guess, little bits of moss growing, maybe some clover. All right, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, we do want the 6 stud long for this section. Okay, getting our water built up there. And then we're going to use that angled piece to fill that in right under the rock. Lovely. We are going to use another rock piece to just connect that on out, give it a little more stability. Use a little bit of some gray brick right here. A little bit more. Looks like we're building up the base a little bit. Got some more water. It's another 6 stud long right there. Get it lined up. There, perfect. A little more rock to connect it. There we go. And we're starting to build some of that little lead up right there. More water. I love how they've extended the moat out just a little bit to where it won't be just this simple thing to where there's only just a suggestion of water. I like that there's enough of it here to where you're not forgetting that there's a moat around this castle. Now we just need to throw in some Lego crocodiles, Lego alligators into the bottom of the moat. Show those guys we mean business. Anybody comes to visit the castle, don't fall in. It is not covered by our homeowner's insurance. There. We go. since this is more of a freestanding structure, it's coming together really fast because you're definitely not building it on to any other like pre-existing part of the castle. So it's a quick thing, and I think it's going to come together really fast. At least that's what it feels like right now, anyway. Okay, have those wonderful little kind of curves, those little loops here. Gives the castle those aquifers that look almost like water can drain through little areas. It's designed to kind of redirect the flow a little bit. And another block on top. We're just kind of adding height right now. Okay, got that. Got a little clip over here. I'm curious what we're going to clip onto that. And speak of the clip, we got another clip. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be. Okay. Mostly feels like I'm just building rock formations at this point. But we've about got it. This build is almost in the books. Or on the display table, should I say. I'd like to see people try to find rational ways to incorporate this castle into their Lego cities. Like, are they going to say it's a theme park or something? They're going to put it beside the haunted house and say that it's like a ride. I honestly don't have any clue how people with those giant Lego cities would justify its existence. I think it would almost have to have its own kind of separate thing going. At least that's what I think. Like you put it beside the shopping mall. Say it's Pigeon Forge, or something like in a touristy area. Say that it's Magic Quest. It's a tourist attraction. It's mini golf. It's a mini golf. Yeah. Castle of Mystery mini golf. That's what I'm going with. The most elaborate game of mini golf you ever played in your life. Put a few Jurassic World dinosaurs in there. Spice it right up. Spice it right up. Okay, got that. Okay. Oh, this is cool. So we're going to use more of these. It's almost like we're building a little mini castle structure. All these different little things going in all sorts of different directions. Oh, yeah, I had this in the wrong spot. All right, that's better. And then another one of those mysterious clips. I'm not sure what all the clips are going to be used for just yet. I don't know. Maybe weapons or something? Flags? That's been all that clips have been used for so far in this set. Sigils. All right. A few more little curves. Kind of see how that kind of builds its own little structure there. Love it. There we go. Okay. Kind of looks like one of those little Minecraft sets, doesn't it? In this tiny little part. Kind of like one of those little Minecraft sets. Looking for Steve now. Maybe a couple of creepers in there. Oh, yeah, they're really going for it with all these little curves. All those little loops. I love it though. Kind of reminds me of Shadow of the Colossus, some of the structures in that game. Some of those old abandoned like castle kind of looking things. That's something I would love to build in a Lego set, is something like an old abandoned like crumbling castle, like totally just falling apart, because I think that there's a lot of beauty in that kind of architecture, so I would love to see that. Okay, then we have some brown pieces up here. This is really surprising me how this is coming together. A little different than I thought it would be. This is probably a part of the build that I hadn't paid much attention to in pictures, or hadn't really gotten a good grasp on how they did it. So this is kind of a surprise for me, or it's kind of something a little different around every corner. Yeah, this is kind of like the ramp that the horses ride up to the castle on. So it's going to be interesting to see what this looks like connected to it. This is the ramp. Like I said, definitely coming together quick. This is going from nothing to something really fast. Really fast. All right. Yep, looks good. We're getting the first part of our ramp built in there. We're first leading up, and there's not many pieces left on this thing, honestly. I'm starting to run out. This is the last water piece, I think. After that, yeah, that's it for blue pieces. It would be such a shame to get to this like last stage of the build and have like a missing part. That would be so horrible. I mean, let's hope not. Of course, I've got so many extra parts now in my extra parts library that I've successfully just found pieces before that I've needed, like a lot actually. Of course, there's been times when I bought sets used. They claim to be 100%, and I think everybody who buys Lego sets on eBay knows that that's not always the case. And here's the thing, I don't even necessarily blame the people selling them, because it's really hard to make sure that all the pieces are there. Like, really hard. It's not an easy thing. It's something that you can very innocently mess up on. And as long as they provide, good service about trying to make sure that, you're made whole on that, and that you can get those pieces, then it's fine. But there have been a lot of times where I was just able to go through with my own stuff and just supplement it and figure out what I needed, and I already had it. Then every now and then it's so minuscule, the pieces that you're missing, is you just go to Bricklink and you just buy them for a couple of bucks, and I never even say anything to the seller. I mean, why would I? if it's that simple a deal to rectify and it's only going to cost a few bucks, why add more misery to the world? Give somebody a break every now and then. We're only human. Nobody's perfect. Oh, I see. What we're doing here is we're building the bottom part of the ramp, I think, and we're going to meet it up with that, I think. But you never know. Maybe not. Got a few more bits of moss or clover here, or maybe just weeds or whatever you want to say. I think it's good that they add this. Kind of, it would be a little too basic, I feel, if these weren't there, these little blooms. Just an indication of a little something growing right here. Just gives it that little extra bit of something that it needs. Yep, here we're getting a little bit more of that join right there where we're building that height. Yeah, we about got it. There's not many pieces left over here. I am running low. It'd be hard to believe that this gigantic 4,500 piece set is coming to a close. It's become a way of life for the last few weekends. As I always say, you hate to rush something that should be so much fun and should give you so much enjoyment. You don't want to rush that. You want to enjoy it. Here we go. Okay. Turn it around. Remaining piece count is dwindling down to nothing. So this thing's gonna be done quick. It is just about gone, my friends. Yeah, this is just about wrapped up. You can see that we're continuing to build that ramp. Build it on down a little bit. And those pieces in. Another one of those little grabber arms. Oh, I see what they're for now. I looked over here at my remaining pieces and realized that I have a bunch of little vines left. That's what's going to go on all this stuff. It's going to be vines. I should have known it. It's another cool way to make it a little more naturalistic, a little more interesting. And add that little extra layer of realism. Oop. A little extra something. Okay. More of those grabber arms. Thank you. Yeah, it's we're almost done. Within the next 2 or 3 minutes, it's over. Or something like that. Who knows? Who knows? Oh, this is cool. So the whole purpose of this, yeah, really, is to plug in to these grabber arms. So it's not all those grabber arms were made for the little vines, but some of them are on the outside. Look at that. Okay. Oh, that's cool. All right. You can see how it's kind of doing its little thing there. All right. So let me make sure I'm doing that right. Yeah. 2 of these that we layer on top of each other. And those fit down here. And then another one of those. Oh, I see. This will probably remain on display, I would say. Sorry, I had to redo a little piece there. Yeah, this will probably be the type of thing, because I'm not super big on taking stuff apart once I've put all kinds of time into it to like build it up. I know that some people do that, and that's fine. You know, that's a great way to do it, especially when you're trying to be careful about space and you're trying to conserve and things. But for me, it's awfully hard once I have put all that time into it. It's hard for me to just kind of say, no. I just have to keep it intact. And yeah, it feels a little like a waste sometimes if you can't keep it together. It's the kind of thing that it's big enough to where you'd probably have to put it on the top of a shelf, and that would probably be the most comfortably you could display it, maybe. I don't know. It's something to think about. I'm bad about building sets and not really having a plan on where to put them. So it's almost like you kind of leap then look. So all right, put my vines on here. Okay. Look at that. That's right. When it is a $400 Lego set, you hope that your intention is that you're just going to keep that sucker on display, and that not only that maybe it'll even be the centerpiece of your whole Lego display. As funny as that is, that's a lot of pressure for one set, you know, that you're hoping that it turns out right. But by golly, this is to say it's turning out well is an understatement with something like this, because it really is absolutely lovely. It really is. Okay, that out of the way. All right. So we're now going to join this up, and let's see how exactly this works. I know that, yeah, there's you can see the little grabber arms will connect in 2 different places down here. I can already see where those join points are, and it's actually, yeah, really easy to get it connected. You can easily move this off if you don't want the whole bridge thing. But to give you a better idea of what we're looking at, that's kind of what we're looking at now with the bridge connected. Okay, a couple of random parts left over here that I think, yeah, it looks like we're building a weapons rack, and what I'm going to say is an homage to Castle Grayskull weapons rack. That's what I'm going to say it is. I have no reason to believe it's that, but I'm going to say that's what it is. And this is the last thing we build, I think. I think this is it. There isn't anything else. We have just a couple of random pieces laying over here, so time to get excited about the whole thing coming together and seeing what it really looks like in the end, and of course taking your questions about what you can do with it and how everything comes together. Of course, I'm a big fan building minifig scale furniture in these sets, even things like weapon racks and just beds, chairs. It's if you like that kind of thing, then I highly suggest the Home Alone Lego set. If you like building little miniaturized, like minifig style furniture, and not everything works perfectly when it comes to the kinds of little miniatures you build in that set, but it works really well. And it'll just keep you entertained building all these funny little contraptions out of weird pieces that you would never believe could make, like you could make a chair out of, or that you could make this or that out of. Okay, and we got all these swords here. I like turning them to where you can't, once again, where you can't see the sprue marks. I feel like they look a lot better. And they have them kind of turned like this, to where one sword is folded on top of the other, which I think is nice. That gives it a nice little look. Okay. Bring that down a little. Bring this one up a little to make them a little more congruent. And then we have a mace we're going to build. I can't say that I've ever built a Lego mace, I don't think. Closest I've come is Lego Mace Windu. It's the worst joke. All right. So that's going to go right after that sword, right down there. Just have him sitting there. And that is actually going to go. It's funny, they must have waited to here's the extra pieces, by the way. I guess that we're going to open up that little shield room and put that in the weapons area. So we're going to have to open it up real quick. And it's funny because it goes together so seamlessly. It's almost easy to forget where it even opens at because it's hard to even tell. And I should have known there was something else that went up there because you have the little spots, like little studs. Okay, and that just goes right there. And that fills in that little blank spot. And there it is. Okay, so now there's only one thing left to do. It's time to join this piece up with the other half. It's time to combine the Megazord, if you will. All right. I don't even know if this will fit on the table. Yeah, I think it just barely will, actually. All right. Join the sections. And okay. Get all my minifigs because I had them stuck on it on my other part so that I wouldn't lose them while I was building the other part. But this way I can get them all off and then have them to show at the end so that we can look at all the minifigs together. So I'm definitely going to do that and kind of get them clear before I try to connect. Okay. This is it. Hold your breath. Okay. So we got to get this thing. Let's find the connection points. All right. There it is. It was hiding on me. Make sure I've got it connected in the back. Yep. And there it is. Ta-da! The Lion Knight's Castle. That is a beauty right there. Oh my gosh. This thing is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Okay, where to begin? Where to begin? First things first, this isn't even as big as it could be if you want it to be you can extend it out a little bit. So I'm gonna make a rare on camera live stream appearance. All right. Of course, I'm all over my videos and everything else. Okay. So if I think we unfold this back here, maybe. I'm gonna do it without destroying it. There we go. My table isn't quite long enough to like support it completely folded out, which is crazy when you think about it. But you can see how you can even get that part out right there. And this is the wild part. You see this connection point right here? Well, check this out. If you look, and I couldn't believe it when I was building it. Do you see this crazy like magic that's going on over here? This is built to kind of like shift. It's like it's morphing and slides in like that. That's insane to me. Like I can't even, that's one of the weirdest magic tricks I've seen them do with a Lego set. And that's true. So you've got that part that you can fold out. But not only that, you can even fold out the other part too. So technically you can open out both ends. Yep, I'm gonna have to get up. All right. So let's see if we can get this other part folded out without destroying the whole thing. Yeah. So technically this thing can be a huge like vista if you want it to be. It can go on and on and on. And, you know, I'm just struggling to get a wide enough angle to show everything. So let's go ahead and open up the main gate. Like I said earlier, it's a two-step process with the whole thing. So the first thing you do, okay, get the right one. So I have accidentally disconnected my chain points on there, so we'll have to wait on that. I think I got excited and must have rattled it around. So that's something you'll have to watch out for, is sometimes the little connection points on here like come off. So you'll have to just reconnect them. But I'll go ahead and freehand it for a second. And we'll look at each of the areas. Here we have kind of like more of like the thatched roof, kind of like village area. You can see that you've got the Lion Knight flag flying high. All those, you have this little, you have like a mill kind of area, and you can see the wheel here, and they even have these transparent pieces to almost show you like the water that's being carried by kind of a mill. And going up, you can see that down in here, you have kind of a little courtyard area. It's kind of hard to see with the camera. Here you kind of have this front area, and then you have that bridge with all the little details. Up here, yeah, King's Landing, that would be perfect for King's Landing actually. Right through here. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Okay, now, the great thing is that they didn't skimp on the inside either. So I'm gonna go ahead and attempt to, as safely as I can, kind of turn it around while keeping everything intact. And should be able to do it pretty easily, but you never know. Might crash and burn. All right, there we go. The little front bridge piece makes it difficult because it's kind of back there. So it's kind of hard to deal with that. But getting zoomed way out here, you can see this massive interior for the castle of just all sorts of different areas. I'll bring my lights down to where you can actually have a lit view, because what you don't want to do is accidentally shadow over the whole thing. That should be a little better. Let me adjust my other light here to where I can get us a little more light here, and then bring it down to where I'm not accidentally shading over the whole thing. Yeah, it's an amazing site when you look at just everything that it has to offer. And boy, does it have a lot. There we go. A little bit more light to the situation. One of the craziest things is the sheer amount of minifigs that you've got, because, I mean, we might as well just see them all. And there is a little minifig skeleton who's been, yeah, exactly. Once you have it folded out, that's the real test. And you see the interiors, then you can really see where the money went. I mean, you've got so many minifigures that you kind of have like family groups. They're like, you have like whole factions. None of these are figures that I'm showing you come from another set. Like every one that I'm showing you is just included in this. That's it. Like I said, entire families, entire factions that are supposed to be like grouped together. It's almost like you would almost call it a one and done set. That it's, you hope it's not, because you want more, of course. Lego fans are never like me. We're never satisfied. So we're always waiting for the next big announcement, or you're always waiting for the next big thing. I think I'll put my normies here in the front. These are just the regular people who live around. And one thing that it is not skimping on are Lion Knights. There are so many Lion Knights in this set of every possible variety. You name it, there is a Lion Knight representative. And one thing that I think is really cool, and people can, say, oh, it's woke or whatever, is I think that it's so cool that they did a great representation of men and women in each of these roles. So you've got male and female soldiers. And of course, that just, to me, that just makes it more interesting that you've got more variety. You've got a good cross section of characters. Nobody just wants the same thing over and over and over. I don't. I want them to be different. I want them to be interesting. Like I said, just a good cross section of things. Okay, there's our Black Falcon crew. Like I said, we've got our civilians right over here. Farmer. Let's say he's the local goat farmer. And then last but certainly not least, we have the queen herself of the castle. Some people have pointed out that there's no king at this castle, and it makes folks wonder if maybe, just maybe, that's a hint in and of itself that we've got another set coming that's going to have the king of the castle. Either way, I think it's fun that they opted for the queen instead of a king. But I just think that there might be a little something to that. Yeah, that's Cersei right there. That's Cersei. All right, so we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I think 21 minifigures or more. I mean, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. That's over 20 minifigs that you get in this set. I mean, that's a whole that's a whole nother ball game. I don't think I've ever got a set that had that many minifigs with it. So you're getting just a tremendous amount of stuff. It's uh, it's crazy, really. It's absolutely crazy. And animals too. You're getting lots of little animal pieces and things, including some of the newer versions of some of those animals. The baby lamb back there, and then some microfigs that you get too, like the little doll that the girl is playing with. So that's just fantastic. And the queen even has like a battle helmet. Let's look at some of the rooms now that we have it like this, because there's so much to see. You have a little hallway, and you have a ladder here. Now, using this, you can actually have the ladder that like you're going all the way up to the top, even though there's no actual opening up there. And you can bring the ladder back down here or raise it back up. Over here, we have kind of an armory, and this ladder, you can put it back up if you want to. This is almost like a little treasure area. There's a little treasure chest, and there's actual jewels in there. Down here, we actually have I guess I should have counted him in the minifigure count because he's been down there a little too long. So I guess he's the 22nd minifig. Up here, like we talked about earlier, we have our armory, and there's a ladder that leads down to the main area where the gate opens up. Over here, we've got their facsimile, and I think this is really neat because at first I didn't know what it was. But then when I looked at it, I realized this is a minifig scale version of the original Lego Yellow Castle. And it's like the kids' playroom. And I actually really liked this. You don't see this often. It's an actual opening door in a minifig scale house or castle. So that's fantastic. Right here, you have what appears to be a music room with a fireplace. So I thought that was great. And that actually leads to a staircase on the side that leads out to the main part of the city inside of the castle. Down here, we have kind of like a kitchen area, which I built kind of early on. And you can see all the different ingredients, and yes, even an oven there. And over here, they have some pretzels and wine and things. And so I thought that was super cool. And a little area where you've got water flowing in. Right over here, you have, like I said, the mill, and you have water flowing through a little kind of, I don't know what you'd call it, an aqueduct of some sort. Down here, we have the millstone where I guess they would grind their flour and things. And sure enough, you have a baguette. So to me, that's a hint that, yeah, that's what it is. There's a bird's nest up there actually with an egg in it. Right here is the royal dining room with the different shields representing different factions, which I thought was really neat. Up here, I think this is probably meant to be the royal bedroom, and you can even see the bed and the rug there are meant to be, I think, in the Lion Knight colors. And we kind of have just more of the top there. So talk about a crazy assortment of stuff and interiors and just details of every imaginable room you could hope to have in a set like this. This is a crazy assemblage. It looks like I've got the whole town assembled, if you will. Looks like everybody's shown up. So it's just so great. It's fantastic. I'm very, very pleased with everything and how it all came together, and it's just it's a beauty. It's an absolute beauty. And I wish I had gotten this reconnected so that I could actually show you guys the little feature with this raising up and all that again. But it's a fantastic feature. I can show you the gate coming up right now, and that's awesome. And if I had those reconnected, which it's not much of a big deal to reconnect those, yeah, let me just do that real quick. All I got to do, at least I don't think it's a big deal, is bring those down. And then, let me see. Yeah, I just have to get a few minifigs out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and clear these guys out. Oh, yeah, and we also got this cool cart right here. So that's fantastic. I'm gonna clear these guys so we can make way for the castle and I can transform it. And we'll come to a conclusion and take any questions or anything you guys were interested in knowing more about and kind of go from there. All right. Now, what is good is they do give you a little area to work down here. So if these come disconnected, you can press it back into the little spots down here if you need to, which to me, that's the only structural thing I'll say about this, is that with as great as these mechanisms are, I have had some problems with these chains coming apart just a little bit from this. But other than that, I can't really say that there's been any kind of structural problem per se. Overall, I've not really had much of any difficulties with anything. Everything feels pretty solid. Once you get a bunch of minifigs on here, it's even more fun. So let me see if I can correct that real quick. It's funny, I've skinned my hand somewhere on this set, so I can see one of my knuckles are bleeding just a little. That's what happens. You start to get old, your skin gets really thin. Let's see, look at this. How'd that happen? Why? You know, what does Lego say? That Lego sets, for a little while, they said that it was for ages 9 to 99 or something, and then they had all those memes about those sad people turning 100, and they were like, they're sad because they can't play with Legos anymore. Maybe what they really need is an age limit. Like, you know, once your hands get so old, man, you can't really do this anymore. You ought not to. You ought not to. Okay. See, the one thing you wouldn't want to have to do is completely disassemble this whole thing to get it back where it needed to go for these little connection points. Because like I said, that to me is the only weakness so far. So that's the only concern I have, that maybe that's the only real way to get these connected back, because it's really hard for me just with my hands to try to get this back on track. Yeah, I think that that's probably something for another day, but I demonstrated it earlier and I don't want to bore us to death with me trying to fix that. All right. And what's great is that if you need to, you have lots of versatility with how you display the castle. So if you have limited shelf space, technically you could break it apart like that, and you would have two different sections that you could put maybe on two different shelves. Or if you didn't have a deep enough shelf, technically you could just take this bridge piece off and it would be fine, because those are on, it's not like on there so permanently. You could easily just disconnect that. So that wouldn't be, I don't think, any kind of big deal to have to make those little changes. And I mean, I think it looks great in this compact form. And it's almost like they measured it out to where it would, I think, like be the size of a really basic little coffee table, like what I have it on right now. Or you can expand it out to be that huge, gigantic kind of set that I think we all love. So, last little things that you can do with it is keep in mind there's also a little secret area over here to the side, because every good Lego set has a little secret area. And you can see under the tree right here that you can find that area right here. And it's a hideout for the Forest Men. At least I think it's the Forest Men. Oh yeah, you're also absolutely right. Uh-huh. If you if this were a licensed set, this would be probably about $600. So because it's unlicensed and Lego is just using their own IP here with their Castle series, this can be a little more reasonable for what you get. So I do appreciate that, and also appreciate this little nod to the Forest Men right here. And speaking of the Forest Men, I'm not going to build it on stream or anything because I think I've done enough live streaming for a little bit. But this is the coveted, gift with purchase that you could get, the Forest Men's Hideout. So I'm definitely going to be building this and having this to be kind of like a companion piece to the castle. And I love that there's a little hint of the Forest Men's Hideout right there, so that you can kind of expand that and get into that whole world of Lego Castle and all the different factions and all of that. Just for good measure, if you want to see what it would look like with that little feature with the bridge down, you can totally just, take it out like this, and I'll connect it, like I said, after the after the video, the stream is done, so that you guys don't have to like sit around and watch me work on that. So you can actually see right into the castle, which is really kind of crazy to see that much detail. Almost like you could just walk in and navigate the place and actually go down the hallways. It would be hilarious to take a little mini camera with a light and to see what you could see. And that's just so cool. I absolutely love that as a feature. All right, well, this was an absolute blast to put together. Definitely, I think it's the most fun I've had on a Lego live stream, especially when it comes to like a prolonged build like this. For whatever reason, this was a lot more fun and a lot more quick feeling to put together than, say, the Lego Pirates of Barracuda Bay set with a giant ship and things, which I really loved. But for some reason, this went by quite a bit faster. This was more of a, I don't know, this seemed to have quicker payoffs, and I think it's some of the complexity of assembling a disassembled pirate ship, I think, was kind of daunting sometimes. But this had the right level of complexity and definitely the right level of like size and scale and everything for your money. And I definitely am incredibly pleased with it. This was an awesome set. All right, friends. Well, listen, I hope that you guys all have a very blessed evening and a great week. Hopefully, this was a fun way that we could start our weeks out. And I definitely suggest the set. If there's any questions about the set, of course, I'll be happy to take those if anybody has any specific questions about the build experience or whatever. But yeah, I hope that the rest of you all have just a great evening. And like I said, a great week. Hopefully, this was a fun way to start things out. And you guys have a wonderful one, and God bless you and yours. And I'll see you on Fanboys Forever. You guys take care.